matters pertaining to grief and loss, tools and resources for hope amid suffering, biblical principles to shed light in the darkness. This is the Grief Speak podcast.
Welcome to the Grief Speak podcast. This is Jacob.
And this is Cory. We're glad you could join us today. We're going to be talking about the fact of change. Change is definitely not something that we like all the time, but it is definitely something that we are familiar with. So many things change in life. Every day we experience changes. Some changes are big and some are small. Some affect us in little ways and we don't think much about it. And then some affect us and they're life changing. And so when we talk about grief, we're talking about a time where we are going through some major changes. When someone passes away, there are definitely big changes now that happen to us. And so that's what we're going to focus on today. As far as changes that can come into our life, one of the things is it changes our identity. When we lose someone we love, it changes how we see ourselves, the roles that we had, how we interact in life, even decision making will change. And so those are things you'll have to think about as you walk through this, because that can be kind of hard. But thankfully,
That was,
yes,
for me, Cory, that was one of the hardest things for me. Being a twin, the identity, losing my twin, I remember being still at the hospital even, and one of the first thoughts, I remember I was lying on the floor in that, they bring you to a conference room, to discuss things with you, but we were all kind of waiting there afterwards, and but I remember thinking, what am I gonna do on my birthday?
yeah,
On our birthday, and thinking the question, like, am I still a twin?
yeah,
My whole identity, my whole life was a twin.
yeah,
I am a twin. And now the rest of my life is I don't have my twin.
mm,
Um, and I still wrestle with that.
yes,
And that's a big change.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah. So I know exactly. Identity is hard. Someone who is married for 60 years, or 50 years or 30 years even,
mm,
um, the identity aspect is difficult change. That is the largest portion of their life. You are something, and then you are no longer that thing. That is a very substantial change.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
it can kind of rock you, as far as to your core. Forever, Jacob, your birthday's different. It's not ever going to
Yeah.
be like it used to be. And so
Mhm.
when we are faced with those things, um, for a season, it can be pretty paralyzing, because our world is now different, and we don't know. Um, we just don't know how to feel or know how to react sometimes in those seasons, and that there's a part of that we need to be okay with, because that um it won't go backwards. And we don't like that, but it is a part that we have to come to grips with. There's an element of acceptance that has to come along, and you can't rush that. You can't get to a point where everything's like, okay, back to normal now, because there is no old normal. There's a new normal, and
Yeah.
and so that's part of that, grasping that as far as change goes.
Yeah. I think adaptation
Mhm.
is a word you can think of.
Yeah,
You it's a new normal. It's adapting to change. You have to learn to adapt to change.
that's right.
Um, here is a very recent example. It doesn't have to do with grief, but if you look at our video, Cory looks funny right now. Um, he's in a car. I don't know if you noticed. We had to adapt.
Yep,
There's change here.
that's right. That's right.
We do this through an online program, but um, there's a new firewall that blocked the link to to it, and so Cory has had to do it through his phone data, and it wasn't working in the building.
Yeah.
So what do?
Yeah,
You
change.
adapt.
That's right.
do You do what you have to do to keep going, keep moving forward. And so the Grief Speak podcast today from Cory is in his car. But I mean, really, there is a lesson there, though.
Mhm.
Um, you do what you have to do to keep moving forward, to
Yes,
keep going. And you do have to adapt to change, to keep going.
you do. The big thing for a Christian is understanding that as we are in an ever-changing world, we find great hope in the fact that we have a never-changing God, and
Oh,
that
yes.
that brings us so much comfort. It should, because how he feels towards us, his compassion towards us, um, the fact that, his plans for us, they have not changed. Even though from our perspective, we can't grasp it, and we take great hope knowing that he's got a hold of this. He's
Yeah.
he is on his throne still, and that
Yeah.
should bring us great hope.
Well, that should bring us hope in that the change we're experiencing that has us in an upheaval
Mm.
does not have him in an upheaval.
Yes.
Um, it doesn't have him anxious, um, and he's with us amidst it, and so that certain stability should provide us some stability amidst our present change and instability.
Yes. No.
Yeah,
If we're honest, I mean, you said the right word, Jacob. There's a lot of anxiety that comes in the middle of all this. In the middle of our grief and our hurt about change, it's scary, and
yeah,
so um, th- it brings me great comfort in knowing while there is uncertainty on my end, I know the one who does know what's going on. you know, I
yeah,
know I know
yeah,
the God who loves me, and he's still going to take care of me, and
yeah,
that really does help.
yeah. Think about it. He's told us a passage like Ecclesiastes 3 says, "For everything there is a season." So
Mhm.
you think of changes, think of seasons.
Yes.
Like Tennessee, which is where we are, you can have 4 seasons in one day, you know, so it changes constantly. But really,
Yes.
in a year, you have 4 seasons, which they cycle. It's a change of seasons. But for everything, there is a season,
Mm.
a time for every matter under heaven. But then it goes straight to talking about what we're talking about, a time to be born and a time to die,
Yes.
a time to plant, a time to plunk up what is planted, a time to kill, a time to heal, time to break down, a time to build up. And then listen to this, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. So through God's word, we see there's a season for everything.
Yes.
There's this, and seasons do what? They change.
They do.
So what we see is amidst grief, there is change and it is causing you to grieve. But here's where hope is also. You won't stay in your grief forever.
Right.
That will change as well. There's hope in that.
So yes, so seasons just like natural seasons, it takes time for one season to go into another season. The Just like within our grief, it's going to take time. And what's interesting, just like we mentioned in Tennessee, how we can experience all four seasons in one day, your grief will change, um, but it will never totally go away. So there will
Yeah.
be a different aspect of it, and as you change, um, you'll learn life will go forward, and there'll be better days. But
Yeah. Yeah.
um, it's having that hope and assurance in the meantime,
Yeah.
as you reach to that point. Yeah.
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 Let me tell you this, Corey, from me. Um, I so twin thing, okay?
Mhm.
People wonder if the twin thing is real, you know? Um, sometimes it is. No,
Yeah.
but, like, me and my sister were awesome partners at the game Pictionary, okay? Like, cause we could, like, read each other's minds, like, you could not beat us.
Yeah.
We could own everybody at that game. She passed away. I could not play that game, and even thinking about playing that game would make me just wanna weep.
Mm,
Um, I said I could never play that game again.
yeah.
We had some, family over from church last week, Friday.
Mhm.
Guess what? I played
Oh,
Pictionary for the
yeah.
first time. It's been 11 years. I told Sarah, and we had talked about it the week before. I said, "Sarah, I think I think I might be healed enough to
Mhm.
play." And there was a little tinge come up, but you know
Sure.
what? I was good.
Yeah.
I was good. Um, and it took a long time. It took a long time. Um, you know what? I did not do as good in that game as with my
Uh-huh.
sister,
Yeah.
Friday.
Yeah.
But, change,
Yeah.
I didn't want to change, even in something as silly as a board game, you
Sure.
know? But it
Well, Jacob, that to others, that may seem like a small thing, but that was a big thing for you, and
Yeah.
because you
Yeah.
felt that. Absolutely. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But that's a real life example, something this week, but it took 11 years,
Yeah.
going on 12 for me to get over. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Change is not fun, and,
Yeah.
definitely not, in this situation with grief, but, it is also not the end either. Mm,
Yeah. That's a
yeah,
good word.
yeah,
That's a good word. So remember, there's a season for everything. You're in a hard one right now, but even that will change, and
that's
God
right.
is with you now.
Amen.